this week I'm really excited. First of all, welcome to Art Impressions Back to Basics. My name is Kendra Krebs. I am the owners, Phil and Bonnie, their daughter, and I have been teaching Art Impressions watercolor for many, many years, and every Tuesday night, or Tuesday evening I should say, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, I get to come on here and teach you guys a very basic tutorial, and this is mostly for people who are new to art impressions and who are just getting started, not sure how to do it, maybe need a little bit of a refresher, and then it's a great place to ask questions. So if you've just started and you're like, oh man, I'm having trouble with the flowers, or I'm having trouble getting that dark to light variation, or, you know, my images are getting really, really dark. What do I do? That's what this live is for. So definitely come with your questions. I love teaching new art impressions watercolorists. I absolutely love it because the basics, you know, when you get the basics and they click for you, it changes everything. So when somebody's having a hard time with the way something is looking, sometimes it's just one thing that makes all the difference in the world, and you're like, oh my word, and just the light bulb comes on, and then your face says it all, right? You're just like, oh my word, I got this. Like, I totally get it now, and I'm so excited to now learn the next thing. So I have a heart for, you know, obviously all of our AI family, but I really have a heart for those beginners. I have a heart for those people who are struggling with the basic concepts, the foliages, the flowers, the shadows, the grass, things like that, because those things which seem really, really small, they actually can be really, really big and a significant part of your composition. And so if you're not happy with that, it can take, you know, it can take the fun out of it a little bit, because you're just like, I really want to do this, but I'm just not getting it. And so I wanted to, our project is really, really simple today. So, and I haven't really gone through the basics for a little bit. And so I want to do that in the beginning. I want to go through a flower, a foliage, and a stemmed flower, and really, really get across what that looks like, okay? And then the grass too. And those are the four things that we use all the time. Of course, you're gonna get a branch in there or a tree. There are tutorials on those things, but for today, I really want to focus on that. And then for our lesson, we're gonna be using the block letters. Really quickly before we go on, we're just using 3 things today. So for those of you who want to follow along, I'm going to be using the block die letters. So these ones, the block letter dies. Okay, so these ones. And then also the flower set 1. Okay, flower set 1. And that's 4052. So that's going to be this one. And you can use the normal foliage if you want to, or you can use the foliage set 4. So I'm going to be using this vine. It's one of these vines, but the normal, the foliage set 1 is just a little bit bigger, but it's going to be the same concept. And I can show you how both of those look just by grabbing the bigger vine, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. And before I do, I want to tell you guys about the 2 Art Impressions stamp groups on Facebook. If you are brand new, or if you have been stamping for a while, you need to check out these 2 groups on Facebook. The first one, the Art Impressions Rubber Stamp Group. Love it. Carla has been around for 5 years. She has put together this amazing group, and definitely check that out. She's got all kinds of albums and inspiration, and just it's a wonderful, wonderful group. So check that out. The other one is with Ruth Ann and Kathy, and that one is the Art Impressions Way, another amazing group. And it's a little bit smaller and a little bit newer, but it's just so loving and caring and encouraging, and both groups are. So make sure you check out, and if either of you or all of you are in the comments, put your links. The Art Impressions stamp group, okay, that's with Carla. So if Carla's here, go ahead and put that in. And then Ruth Ann and Kathy have the Art Impressions Way group. So if you guys could link that one in, that one's amazing as well. And they have different things that they're gonna offer. So I encourage you, check them both out and go be inspired and encouraged and loved on, and just, you know, there are people in both groups who will just love to help you or love to encourage you or love to give you advice. Absolutely check them out if you can. If you have Facebook, obviously, if you have Facebook, you're here, right? So definitely write those down or go click on those links and check them out, okay? And then let's see. All right, so the project that we're going to be doing today is this one. So I used fall, and I used the block letters. It is super, super, super easy. And I chose fall again because I wanted to give you guys just a different view on the fall lettering. So last week we did fall and did mostly the outside of the letters. And then this week we're doing fall with all of the florals and foliages inside, okay? So very, very, very simple project. And this is why I want to go through the flowers and the foliage, because that's really all we're doing in this one. So it's super easy. And then I'll show you one other idea that I had just for inspiration after we do this tutorial, okay? So let's see. I know I've missed so many comments here. Let's see. Diane, yes, make sure to check out all the Art Impressions Back to Basics videos on YouTube. Yes, definitely. Thanks, Diane. Check those out on YouTube. The quality is much better on YouTube. It does take us about a week to get the video up to YouTube, but it is a better quality, and I really like the HD on YouTube, so definitely check that out, okay? Let's see. All right, I think we can go ahead and switch over the camera and let's get going. This is a really, really fun tutorial. So once again, I will be using the block letter die. That's going to be these, and how cute are these? So you can see I've already used this one in here, but these ones do not line up with the stamps. So these are not dies that cut out those alphabets. They're totally different fonts, okay? So you can't use them together. But I did want to just show you, since we're doing the inside, I do want to show you the other way that you can do this. And instead of coloring on the inside, oops, I've got a little die down there. Instead of coloring on the inside, you can put your sticker paper down and stamp out on the outside here, okay? And we do have tutorials for that as well. I won't be doing that today because I wanted to do the outside on the other one and the inside on this one. So, but you can absolutely check that out. There are tutorials for that, okay? So, yes, I am, Barbara, thank you. I am giving away my sample. So if you want the sample, go ahead and comment in the comment section. And then I'll also be giving away the sample that I did as just kind of another inspiration or another idea that you could do with these. Okay, so, and I'll show you that when we switch around, okay? So let's, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna switch the camera around. Okay. All right. Let's get this set up here. Okay, and you know what? I did not set up my watercolor paper because I wanted you guys to see how I place it. So, I showed you the block letters, so I'll be using these block letters, but I didn't show you the other two for a second time. So the other two, it's going to be this little dot, or this little stamp here, the vine, from the Watercolor Foliage set 4, 5126. And then also the flower set 4052. And I'll be using this little daisy bunch. Very, very simple, okay? So let's go ahead and do our basics before I get into the actual fall tutorial, okay? So leave me a little emoji in the comments if you are excited to go back through the basics again, even if you have been stamping for a while. What do you think about just every so often revisiting the basics? What do you think about that? Do you like that idea? Because it might give you some reminders, or do you think, oh, I would rather just go back and watch some of the other ones if I want the basics? So let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, I'm gonna grab out a stemmed flower for this one. So I'll grab this one. It really doesn't matter what stemmed flower you grab. I really just grabbed any of the stemmed flowers. And then I have my daisy bunch here. And then I also am going to grab, let's see, my foliage, my little grass. And Carolyn loves the basics. I've got some emojis from Debbie. Yay, Nell loves the basics. Cool. Okay, good. All right, so here's the bigger vine, and I can show you what these two look like. Here's the little one from set 4, and then there's the original. So it's the same vine, it's just a mini size. And then also I'm gonna grab out the grass, the teeny tiny grass. And for a lot of people, the grass is actually pretty tough. And I want to just show you again and just remind you again how the grass is stamped. Okay, so here we have a stemmed flower. So if you're stamping along with me, go ahead and get any stemmed flower. I totally don't mind which one you get. Okay, so let's just zoom in. I have a stem flower. I have the daisy bunch, so you can use any daisy bunch or any filler flower that you have, okay? And then I've got the two vines here. I was originally just going to use this one, but I did want to show you the original vine, okay? So I've got the large one and the mini one. If you only have the large one, just ignore this one. I'm just going to show you how it looks next to this, okay? And then also the teeny tiny grass if you have it. So go ahead and grab all of those ones out. Okay, and we are going to get started. Just a quick run through of the basics and how to use them. Okay, so we're not going to go in order here, so we're not going to start with the stemmed flower. We're going to actually start with the daisy bunch. So go ahead and grab your little daisy bunch or your filler flower. Let me make sure I'm not on, okay, that's perfect. I was just noticing I was getting a little bit spotty there. So I'm going to grab my daisy bunch, and I'm going to grab, let's see, I'm just going to grab this, which color do I want to use? Because I don't want to get it all messy. Maybe I'll just grab a different daisy bunch because I don't want it to get all messy for our project. So I don't want to have to clean it. So I'm going to grab a different daisy bunch. It's the same one, it's just a duplicate, okay? All right, so I'm going to grab that one. And I'm going to take the number 636. All right, and if you, so I have had people ask me for when I do this run through the basics sample, if you want the basics sample of the little run through that I do here, leave a note in the comments. I know it's kind of a random thing to want, but actually some people do want this to kind of, put next to their project. So if you want this sample of the basics tutorial, just let me know in the comments that you would like that. It's not going to ruin your chances to win the actual product. You might win both. So it's one of those things that's like, if you want it, great, and if you don't, that's totally fine. But I have had people ask me for this. Okay, so 636, and I am going to take my pen and just ink that up, okay? And I am going to stamp this at least 5 times. And do you see that dark and light variation? Let me just zoom in here. Dark and light variation. Okay, so I've got dark to light, and you can see that I am moving it in a circle. So I might kind of reorient the stamp every time I stamp around it, making this cluster. But I want to stamp at least 5 times. Okay, so I've got 2 in there, and maybe I'll just do 1 more just so we can do. A lot of times I like to see things 3 times because I think it really ingrains it in my mind. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more. And I want to note, okay, I'm not stamping hard. Okay, I'm not stamping hard, and I am just stamping very lightly. It's almost like a tap, tap, tap. And, oh, Kristen, why do you position the stamp to the edge of the block and not centered? You know, I just put it on this way. I'm so used to stamping this, but actually it's a great question. Actually, I would recommend putting it in the top right corner of your block. Great question, Kristen. Sometimes I just start stamping and I sort of miss those little things, those little details. And I appreciate those questions because it makes me think, oh yeah, that's right, I didn't mention. I have stamped with these so many times that I don't really need it in a certain spot, but this is actually a really good spot to have it in, that top right-hand corner. And it's really helpful to sort of, with muscle memory, you kind of know where things are, and you can put maybe those 3 little ones sort of facing that corner and then the rest of them out. And then you get a really good sense every time you stamp this about how it's gonna stamp down, okay? All right, so now I have my 3 little clusters here, and we are going to add water to these, okay? So I'm gonna take my brush, and here's another little lesson, and I do mention this quite a bit. When you first start and you grab your brush to start watercoloring, you want to really, and I want you to watch the bubbles, okay? Keep your eyes on the brush. Keep your eyes on the bristles here. So I want you to see how many bubbles come out. So actually quite a few bubbles come out, right? We might even get a few more. So I want you to open those bristles, either push it up against the edge or push it down on the bottom, and open up those bristles and let that air out. Okay, so let all the little air bubbles out of your brush. This is going to help you keep a consistently wet brush throughout your project, okay? So I am going to just take off the excess water here, all right? And I am going to wipe down this metal piece. We don't want any water on the metal piece there. Okay, and then I'm gonna take most of that water out. I know the inside now is wet because I've taken all of the water out of the air out of the inside of the brush, okay? So I can take that and just dip it once, wipe it once on the edge of the glass, or dip once, wipe once, and then reshape that brush. You can even wipe a little bit off of the tip if you want to. Okay, if you want to do that, if you feel like it's just not, dry enough, that's totally fine. And then you're going to take your brush and you're just going to dab around your flowers. Now, I want you to notice I'm leaving quite a bit of white space, right? So I'm not dabbing on every single flower. I'm not touching every single flower here. I am just dab, dab, dab all around and leaving some white space in the center, okay? So do you see the difference there? I have not gone in and just obliterated all of the flowers with water. You want to leave some integrity there, okay? And I want to show you from the side here. So let me just zoom out a bit. And I want you to note, I'm not stabbing it, like I'm not poking it like this, I'm dabbing it using the side of the brush, okay? So when I am poking, the brush is like this. It's poke, 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 poke. And that can damage my brush, but it also doesn't allow enough water to be distributed around the stamp, okay? So actually I want to use the side of my brush like this and dab it, because that opens up the bristles and then closes them as you pull away, and opens them, pushes the water out, and closes them. This is a poke. We don't want to poke, okay? We want to dab. All right, so I'm going to just use the side of my brush, and I'm just kind of arbitrarily dabbing around in this flower cluster. Okay, it doesn't have to be a specific spot that I'm dabbing. I'm just moving some of this color around, and my number one goal is to leave a highlight. Lots of highlights, okay? Leave lots of highlights. And let me just show you really quickly at the bottom. I'm gonna show you every time the no thing at the bottom, okay? So I am going to get this stamp back on, and I'm going to take my 636, take my 636, and I'm going to stamp this in just like we had, okay? And I'm not going to leave any highlights in here, okay? So I'm not going to leave any highlights. I'm going to just dab this. Even though I'm dabbing, I'm not going to leave any highlights, and show you the difference between leaving highlights and not leaving highlights. Isn't that a big difference? Even though you have dark and light variation, it's quite a big difference when you look at these, because these ones look round. They almost look like balls, and this one looks really flat, right? So you want to leave highlights in between your dabbing. That's really, really important. So this one is going to be a no. Okay, so I'm going to cross that one out. All right. So now I'm going to take Natalie. My brush is very pointy, and I got very little points when I dab. How come your brush? It's because I've used this one a lot, and actually mine used to do that too. It will go away the more you dab, and actually it's okay if you do have some of that. It's just that it will damage your brush if you're poking, because look at what happens when you poke. It's bending that brush in a way that it doesn't want to bend. So you can do this. And part of the reason I think too is the amount of water that I use, because I like to use a lot of water, and it just kind of pushes that brush out a little bit more, okay? So you'll just have to kind of play with it. Okay, so now I am going to take the vine, and we're going to do a little practice of our vine here. So I'm going to take that big vine, and I'm going to take this, okay, and I want to make sure that you know, okay, so you can do, somebody said, Catherine said, I think the bottom one looks like a group of hibiscus blossoms. Absolutely, you can do it dark, as long as you have some highlights in here. You want some highlights, even if it's just a tiny bit of white, you want some highlights in there. Even if you want it nice and dark like this, you can do it dark. You just want some highlight, okay? All right, now I'm gonna take my little vine, and this is from Foliage Set 1, okay? Now this is 177, and I'm just going to ink most of this. I'm not gonna ink this flat part down here. I can leave that off. Okay, but I want to tap, 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 tap. Okay, at least 5 times. And I'm not stamping hard. It's just a tap, 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 tap. Okay? Yes, Laura, it depends on what look you're going for. You just want to leave that highlight, okay? You want to leave that highlight. If you do not leave a highlight, it's going to feel super flat. Super, super flat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And I'm getting dark to light variation in here. This is really, really nice. Okay, and then I'm gonna do, since these are kind of big, I'll just do one more of the no highlight down here, okay? Or I can also show you what it looks like to always ink every single time, which a lot of people do this too, and it feels really, really dark. It feels really dark. So if you get this, okay. All right, so I've got really, really dark here. So this is the one that I did not do for the stamp off. Okay, so I did stamp it at least 5 times or more. And then this one I re-inked every single time. Okay, so you're gonna be able to see the difference here. All right, so now let's zoom back in and we are going to do a dab, 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 okay? So I'm gonna go and start dabbing. Now I want to leave highlights, right? Leave your highlights. That's an absolute must do. You will dream of me saying leave highlights. I say this on buildings. I say this in the water. I say this on pots. I say this on everything that we do. You've got to leave white space. It can be dark, it can be light, it can be, you know, speaking of your vessels can be super dark. You can make it black as long as you have highlights, okay? Because I want it to come off the page. If you don't leave highlights, it's going to look really, really flat. Okay, so dab, dab, dab all around here. And leaving highlights, okay? Dabbing all around there. And then this one down here, okay? We are going to dab all around and not leave highlights and not stamp off 3 times. But do you see the difference here? What this looks like. Okay. Okay, so I've taken most of the highlights out, and although I can still see my stamp, it looks really dark, right? So, how do you get the color outside of the leaf without it looking straight? Without the leaf looking straight? I'm not sure what you mean, without it looking straight. Let's see. I wonder if I could stamp it again and let's see here. Let's see if I can figure out what you mean. This is just a practice paper, so I'm gonna grab my vine again. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this a couple times. And without it looking, the highlight. Julie, how do you get the color outside of the leaf without it looking straight? And meaning the highlight. Let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, so when you're adding water to a single leaf, you can just kind of move along here, okay? So you're still leaving highlights in here and you're following the curve of the leaf, the highlight around the leaf. So all you're doing to leave a highlight around the leaf is just not touching every leaf. So if I come in here again and I just kind of move along here, I'm not touching every leaf, but I am leaving a bit of a highlight only because I'm not touching every leaf. Does that make sense? I hope I'm understanding that question correctly. Let's see. I hope. You know, I used to teach this to, when you stamp it down, I used to teach this that, let's see here, that you would, oh, I'm getting a fan on me, but but everything's blowing around. Okay, so is that you want to kind of squint your eyes, Julie. If you can, I know some of you can't squint your eyes, but if you can squint your eyes, or if you wear glasses, just don't wear them. And you can take your brush, and you want this to be sort of blurry, like you can't see all the leaves. You want it to be kind of blurry, and then you just kind of want to stamp or dab around in this vicinity. But you don't want to just touch every single leaf, okay? So I'm hoping that that helped. But Julie, please let me know if I'm not getting it, okay? I definitely want to be able to answer your question, and I know it's really hard sometimes to articulate what you're trying to figure out over, live comments. So, if I did not hit it, let me know, because I definitely want to, okay? All right, so now I'm going to take and just show you what the mini one looks like. And it's so cute. This one is just the mini of the large one, and I'm just going to do one example of this. Yes, Janet, you want to take away the stampiness of the stamp. And that's why you're adding the water, okay? So here is, oh good, thanks Julie. Okay, so I'm gonna take my brush and just kind of come around and add water in the same way that I added it over here, and I'm leaving that highlight, okay? So, okay. Now we're going to take our stemmed flower, okay? So Jerry says, if I didn't wear my glasses, I would be hitting everything else but what I was aiming at. Jerry, only do that on a practice piece of paper, not your actual project. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. And then maybe just stamp it all over the page so that you will definitely hit something that you want to hit. Okay, so now I'm going to take my bigger block, and I'm going to put on oops, I need to just clean this one off really quickly. And it got a little bit dusty. That's okay. So I'm going to take this one, this little stemmed flower, and put it onto my block. And I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to use the 177 and the 636 for this one, okay? So the 137, or the 177, which is the green, and then the 636 purple, okay? So I'm going to ink the blooms in that 636, and then also the stem in the 177. Now you want to stamp this on a pivot point, okay? So you want to largely keep the bottom of your stem stationary as you move the top, okay? So I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to stamp at least 5 times, because these stems, for the majority of the time, they grow in a bouquet style. So they come from a single root system, and that's how you're going to get it looking the most realistic, is if you stamp it coming from a single point, okay? So I'm gonna move up and do this again so that you can see, and we're doing this on a pivot, okay? Okay. So I'm going to take my green, and I'm going to do this on a pivot from a single point, okay, because these grow in a bouquet style. So they're coming from that single root system at the bottom. Okay, so, and I don't have to go in one line. I can do this and come up and kind of move this around how I want to. And do you see how that one looks different than this one? It's really, that's what's fun about this, is when you're stamping in multiples, one cluster is going to look different from another cluster, okay? So let me show you what this looks like when you don't stamp it in a cluster. And this is something a lot of people do. Now, I want to tell you, anything down here, like this is also going to be a no. Anything down here that I'm crossing out, if you're doing that, don't feel bad. Like, this is why we show you, because a lot of times we don't even realize that we're doing it in a way that we don't actually like, and we think it might be something else, but it's actually our foliage or our flower. And that's why we do this, because we want you to be successful. We want you to love what you make, okay? So, and just with a few tips like this, you really can love what you make. All right, we'll do the stem again. And this is what I see a lot, okay? And it's okay. Don't worry about it if this is you. Okay, but I see this a lot. And these stems like this, they don't grow for the most part. Of course, there are some varieties that probably do, but for the most part, your eye is going to be happier with a bouquet style than it is in a single formation line. Okay, so this, although this would look cute in a certain setting, this is going to serve you better, especially coming out of a pot or something similar. Okay, so when you're putting this flower into a pot, this is going to look much more pleasing to the eye than something like this will. And also, you can fit a lot more in here on the sides if you do it in a bouquet. Okay, and I just want to remind you, you don't have to, let me show you on this piece, you don't have to have them touching. You can have them just be angled into the same area. Okay, so I didn't even go all the way down here. I want them angled in the same area so that I know that although there might be something here, I know that they're going to eventually touch. So you just want to have them angled in, okay? So a pivot point, for those of you who ever played basketball or know what a pivot is, it's when you stick one foot, you plant one foot on the ground, and then the rest of your body moves back and forth in a circular motion. You're kind of rotating the rest of your body, but one foot stays planted. And that's basically what we're doing here. We're planting the stem at the bottom, and then we're moving the rest of it around, okay? And that's what looks really nice with these stems. All right. Now I want to show you when we add water to these stems, we're only going to dab on the top blooms. We're not going to add water to the stem area, okay? So I'm going to take my brush, and just like I did over here, I am going to add water to these blooms up here. Now I'm going to show you two different ways you can add water to the blooms. This one is going to be really full, where I take a bunch of the color out of the bouquet and make it really big and full. Okay, so I have a lighter area in the back, which kind of says that this is a really full, big bouquet. Okay, no problem, Natalie. No problem. I just said to my husband, so basketball related to my stamping. Yes, Kristen. That's awesome. Okay, so you can take your brush now, and you can just, on these bouquets, you can just touch the one flower if you want it to be really dainty. Okay, you want this to kind of be more of a centerpiece or the focus. You can keep the water inside of that flower. And do you see how that brings the flowers forward and really puts a focus on the flowers? Notice I'm not adding water to my stems, right? If I add water to my stems, which I'll show you at the bottom, it's going to make them look really wide and big. All right? So let me show you what the no-no, okay? So I can add my water to the blooms, okay, just like normal. But if I add water to my stem, look at what happens. It makes it really disproportionate to the flower. See how heavy now that stem is? It doesn't look like it would go with this flower because it looks really wide. Okay? So you want to keep that stem really, really dainty and then keep your water up in the flowers. All right? So a lot of this, we're really taking out quite a bit of the detail in here, and we kind of welcome back a little bit of detail into the composition when we leave the stems alone. Okay? So this one is going to be a no. This one's going to be a no. And we'll do a purple and a green because we used both. Okay, so now we're gonna do the grass. And normally I do the grass first, but I did have a couple of you mention that you were struggling with grass. So I do wanna take just a few extra minutes on the grass and just make sure that you guys are getting this as best as possible, okay? So I'm gonna get one more little acrylic block and I'm gonna put my grass on here. And notice upper right corner, you know, like I said, I've been doing this so long, so sometimes I'll put it in the center or wherever. But really the upper right corner is gonna give you, kind of help you build that muscle memory and know where to stamp your stamp, okay? So Cheryl says, that's so nice because I've always put water on the stems. And you're right, it does make it look big and bulky. I've had all these stamps that you're using today, which is helpful. Yay, awesome. I'm so happy you're learning. That's great. You know what, it's those little things that we do that we're like, I don't know what's wrong with it. There's something I don't like, but I don't know what it is. And so, you know, sometimes it might be something as simple as your stem. Okay, and maybe you love it, but you'll love it even more if you leave it, okay? So we're gonna take 177, and of course, I've got a little bit of dust on this guy too, so I'm just gonna clean him off. Okay, so I'm gonna clean that off. Vicky says practice makes permanent. That's right. Yes, that is right. Okay, very, very wise advice. Okay, so 177, I'm gonna ink my grass and I wanna stamp this. How many times, you guys? Put it in the comments. How many times am I gonna stamp this? Or how many times do I recommend stamping this? I'm gonna stamp it more than that, but how many times? So I think my comments are gonna lag. So you guys are probably putting in, Terry, you're right. 5 times or more. Yes, Lori, good job. Yay. Yay, excellent. Okay, so we've got Margot saying 5. Really, really good. Jean, excellent. Okay, I'm gonna stamp this 5 times or more. Notice, I want you to notice, good job, Nell. I want you to notice that the grass is touching each other. The grass is not in, and I'll just put it in right here. The grass is not clump, 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 clump. Okay? So this looks very stampy, right? And we don't want it to look stampy. We want it to look like a watercolor painting, which is very not stampy looking, right? So I'm gonna take that stamp and I'm gonna attach it to itself. Doesn't matter how I do the cluster. I can come back, I can come down, as long as the grass is connected and I've stamped it 5 times. Kristen, yes, 5+, excellent. And then for the third one, maybe I'll go backwards. So maybe I'll make a little cluster and go backwards. Now you don't have to go back and put the lighter areas in. You can maybe use a smaller area and just go in one direction. You want light and dark values in your grass, in your leaves, in your flowers, in your stem, in your stemmed flowers, all of that. You want dark and light variations, and that's why we always say leave your highlights, okay? Now can you see how each one of these clusters looks different? And none of them look stampy like this looks. This looks really, really stampy, right? We don't want the stampy, okay? So we're gonna take our brush now, take a little bit of water, and we're going to start pulling out the color from the lines. So unlike these ones that had a lot of leaves and a lot of areas to kind of work around, grass is going to be straight. These are straight lines, so we're going to use a straight stroke, but we still want to leave some highlights. So we don't want to fill in everything. We want to just pull out that grass, but still leave highlights. See, even though I pulled this out, you can see highlights in here scattered throughout. Diane, no stampy. That's right. Yes, Diane. Okay, and then I'll take this one. And if you need to turn your paper to make it easier for you, you can do that. Or you can keep it straight. You don't have to follow the lines on the grass if you don't want to. You can, but you don't have to, okay? And then we'll go to the next one. Linda says, then you do the next set with those connected to light and dark of the last grass cluster. Yeah, so if you wanted to make your grass really, really long, you don't have to connect the clusters. Once you have your 5 in, then you can move to a different area and put 5 more or what have you. I would suggest if you want grass all along something to actually break it up. So do a couple little clusters here, leave a space, do another little cluster over here, leave a space, do another cluster over here, okay? All right, I'm getting some requests for skies. You guys, that is coming. I am coming up with something to sort of make skies a little bit more straightforward, but it's not something that I can get into today because I really, really want to deliver it in a way that is crisp. And if I get into it today, I fear that it's not quite where I want it to be yet, but I am going to go through skies and water with you. So fear not, okay? Fear not. All right, so I'm going to keep going with my grass here. And I am just adding these little lines. All right, and notice I'm coming out from the stamp line. So the stamp is here, I'm coming out, okay? Out, out, out. And then once again, here. And I can also just kind of pull this back. I can loosen the edge, this bottom edge, by pulling out some of that color if I want to. Okay, so it just gives it a little place to sit, or you can bring it out this way. And now I'm really close. Okay. Roberta, I am using a number 4 brush. Okay. Jerry, we are no longer afraid. Don't be afraid, it's coming. It's one of those things, the sky is one of those things that I really want to deliver well. Because it's something, the sky is something we do in almost every project, and we're right now brainstorming ways to make it more straightforward than to add color to the paper and kind of mush it around. Okay, so we want to make it a very easy way to kind of get you to understand how the skies work, okay? All right, now on the no down here, we are gonna stay within the stamp and not leave any highlight. Okay, so I'm coming here And I'm going all the way, even though I have dark to light variation, I don't have any highlights in here, and it still looks kind of stampy, right? Okay. All right, so that is a no. These down here are a no. Yes, I'm wetting my brush, Roberta. These are a no. Okay, you guys. So I hope that this very, very basic tutorial, or the basics tutorial, was helpful for you, or just as a refresher. So if you would like this sample, leave in the comments that you would like the sample, the basics how-to sample, or the basics sample. And that won't take you out of the drawing for the actual project that I'm going to be doing right now, okay? So sometimes people really like to put these, you know, have this for reference. If you would like to, just put in the comments that you would like this for reference, okay? Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get on to our actual project, okay? So, Barbara, wonderful basics. My next project should be beautiful, haha. Barbara, your projects are all beautiful, so I don't know what you mean, girl. All right, Margot, very, very helpful as I just started. Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. Great. Okay, so I'm going to use, you'll see I have already cut out my fall sticker paper, and I actually brought the sticker paper with me. So this is what we sell on the website. This is the Inkadoo stamping mask paper, and it comes in a set of 12 sheets, and these are just really, really nice to do these kind of you know, projects. And so what I did was take the die cuts in the block letters die set, and I used FAL and then had to run it through for a second L, okay? But I did that on the white side of the stamp paper, okay? So when I ran this through, you can see that the stamp paper actually has a blue side and a white side. So when I ran it through, it was on the white side, okay? So everything, all my dies were on the white side, because the blue piece is going to peel off, and actually the adhesive is on the other side of the white sheet. So you want to cut them out with your letters up like this, with the white side up, okay? All right, now we're going to take my little cutout, and so you can reuse these. So I'm going to take this and put it onto my watercolor paper. Now, I left this really big. If you cut this out too small, it's going to have a hard time sticking to your paper, okay? So I just did it really big just to make it easier on myself. It's really up to you if you want to make it smaller, but they are reusable. So if you have a few of them you want to do in a row, you can absolutely do that, okay? And then I have my little A, tiny little piece that's gonna go right there in the center, okay? Now I also wanna mention, when you cut these out, what do you have left over? You have the letters left over, right? So I have put them on a piece of watercolor paper, and I'm gonna show you how to stamp across this, and you're gonna get actually 3 projects out of this, okay? So you're gonna get this project that we're gonna make. I took the letters and put them on a watercolor paper. I'm gonna stamp across this, and I'm gonna put these on a card, because I'm gonna take them off, and then underneath is gonna be the negative space of the letters. So actually I'll have this as one project, the letters on another card as a project, and then this one as a project, okay? So actually you can get 3 projects out of 1 with these, okay? All right, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. So first of all, I am going to be, oh, Melissa, you always make it look easy. I aspire to be like Kendra. You are so sweet. Oh my goodness. You are too sweet and I don't deserve it. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my little daisy bunch here, okay? I'm gonna grab my daisy bunch and I'm gonna put this in the right-hand corner like I showed you. So I put the 3 little ones in the corner and then the rest of them are out here, okay? Jerry, talk about multitasking. I know, but I want you guys to see all the cool things that this set can do, okay? But I do get it. I totally am. Okay, so I'm going to use 993 first. And we're going to be using mostly those yellow, orange, and blue colors with the green, green foliage. And let me just zoom in here. So I'm using my watercolor paper underneath, and then I've stuck really, really hard the sticker paper on top. Okay, and I've pushed that down all around my letters, all right? So I'm going to take my daisy bunch, and I'm just going to start stamping this in. I'm using that 993, so remember how we talked about this, stamping in clusters. So I'm stamping more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I'm going to stamp 5 times when I do a cluster. Now, once I already have the clusters in, if I want to come back and darken something up, I can do that with just 1 stamp. But initially, I need to have that dark and light variation in there, okay? So I'm just stamping. And then I'm going to come down here. You can put these colors wherever you want to. I would suggest that you put them on the edges because we need to have color along every edge of the letters, okay? Every edge. Deborah, I was fortunate to take a class at the scrapbooking convention in Arlington, Texas. Oh, I loved Arlington, Texas. I loved Arlington so much. In 2016, Kendra taught her class. That's hilarious. It was awesome. Yeah, you probably could feel my enthusiasm because I loved Arlington, Texas so much. That was such a fun show. And I think I went back to Arlington every time. If it was with my mom or if it was with Joel, I think it was Arlington. What was the other show in Texas that we had? Wasn't there another one in Texas? Ooh, I forget. Maybe Arlington was the only one, but I loved Arlington. That was a blast. Okay, so I am just kind of stamping these around. And I am going to just come back up here and put a few more, maybe just down in here. Now keep in mind, okay, that we are going to be putting in several other things, so don't fill this in completely with the yellow. We are going to put in some orange now, okay? Roberta, I took your class in Orlando. That's where we met. I was hooked. Okay, I also loved Orlando. Yeah, I loved those shows so much. I've met so many of you guys, and I honestly wish that I had pictures of all of us together because I seriously was all over the place, and I wish that I had the memories of each person that I met because so many of you comment on here, I met you here and I met you here and I took your class, and I'm like, man, I really missed out because I can't, there's so many of you. I wish my memory was better, and if we were in person, I probably would remember. I would probably be like, oh, that's it because of your mannerisms or what we talked about. But online, I'm like, darn it. I feel like I'm really missing out. Because I don't remember all of the classes. But I think in person, if we were to talk, I would be like, oh my word, I know you. I know you, I remember you. And you know what? I would do that when we would go to shows and I would meet some of the same people coming in every time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you. And I would get super excited. But you know, this online thing, it's great in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, we really do miss those connections, don't we? Okay, Natalie, you'll have to come to my home here in Belgium. I want to do a Europe trip. I want to do European classes and come over and do a bunch of classes and just kind of travel along in some of the areas in Europe. So, you know, that might be a possibility someday. It has been on my list of things that I want to do for a very, very long time. So Tammy, the orange is going over the yellow. Yes, it is, but not totally over the yellow. So I did it kind of to the side, okay? And then, but I didn't totally cover everything. All right. So let's see. Terry took classes in Edison, Janet in Pleasanton or Sacramento. See, I know I would know you guys. I know it. And I'm just so sad. I'm like, okay. I know that if you said we met, I would remember because I probably stood there and talked to you while I demoed. Maybe I made you something. Maybe we talked about something specific. You know, maybe you helped in the booth. Nell helped in the booth at the Edison show. Nell, how many times? 3, 4 times? And so I just absolutely, I know that I would be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were in the stamp group and we've been talking all this time and I totally know you. But you know what? Someday I'm hoping that we will have an opportunity to all meet again. Okay. Pat, did you ever do the Zoom you talked about? I am planning a Zoom. So, you know, some things came up, but I am absolutely planning a Zoom. Sometimes if I put, like a little, you know, poll out there or something, I get a good response, you know, I'm going to do it. It may not be tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to do it. So yes, I am planning that. You have not missed it. Okay. All right. So I'm taking my one, oh, this is 228. Whoops. Actually, yeah, I wanted 228. This is a really pretty sagey color. And this is gorgeous for the fall. And my mom actually uses this color a lot. The 228, we do have this in stock. I believe in stock. It is on our website. So, make sure that if you want to use the sagey green, it's that 228. It's not the 177 or the 249, although those are beautiful. This sagey green is just really, really nice, but you can absolutely use 177 or 249, okay? But they're not kind of that sagey color. All right, I'm using the mini vine. Sorry, I got really sidetracked with talking about the shows and how much I miss you guys. Sorry about that for those following along. Some of these I'm not able to put 5 in. That's actually okay because I'll still have some color left over that I can kind of move around, okay? Leah, it's in stock, 228. Yay, Leah comes through. Thanks, Leah. Okay, so I'm going to move this guy around and I'm going to stamp him at least 5 times, get that really nice dark to light variation. And I'm just stamping these in here. Okay. And then I'm going to move on to this area. Kristen, really liking that blue. I know, me too. And you know what? I kind of added that blue because this one doesn't have a sky, but I really like the blue that the sky brings. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I could just do a little flower. So I did that little flower. And actually the flower is, I grabbed this last minute. This is actually from the mini flower set. Let me grab that on my watercolor catalog here. I apologize. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Let's see. The mini flower set. Oh, maybe it's not the... Oh, it's this one. I'm sorry. Foliage set 2. Foliage Set 2. It's actually this little leaf right here. Foliage Set 2. But you could use this little flower here. And actually I thought it was this one, but it ended up being this one. But I like them both. Okay, so this is Watercolor Foliage Set 2. And then also this is the mini flower set. So anything really tiny can be used to make this, okay? Velda, the blue is number 526. 526. Sorry, Jerry. Sorry, Velda. You guys, I was just so excited talking to you. I just was kind of stamping and not realizing that I was not telling you what I was doing. Apologies. Okay, back to the 228. So I'm just going to move this around. Okay. And I'm just stamping over stuff, okay? Notice I didn't put any water in yet because I want things to be packed really tightly. I want these to be packed nice and tight, and if I put water in too soon, then I would lose the space to be able to put so many different elements in. Okay. All right, so now I have my colors in, okay? And I'm going to now take my brush and we're going to dab just like I showed you. All right, we're gonna dab. So let me zoom in a little bit more. All right, you can see this. So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna start with the lighter areas first. So this is like my favorite part is dabbing everything once I've put everything in. So I'm gonna start dabbing, leaving highlights. So I'm gonna go over the yellow and the orange parts first because I want these areas to get the space that they need before the green and the blue come in and try to take over their area. Okay, so I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna go right up to the line. I need the line to be solid so that when I lift up the paper, I'm gonna have a nice line where the paper used to be, okay? So I wanna come right up to that line, right up to that paper and get my color in. Nice and tight up against the paper. Same thing here, dab, dab, dab. Okay. Right up against that paper, I'm bringing that color. And then same thing, but I'm still leaving highlights, right? I'm not touching everything. It's just that my highlights are not on the edge. Okay, now I'm gonna go back in and do my blues. So you know the yellow and the blue, if they mix, it's going to create a green, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. You wanna keep the blue in its own area, and if it mixes a little bit, that's fine, don't worry about it. We've got green in this composition too, so the greens will just kind of work together. But you want, for the most part, to keep the blue in its own lane. Okay. And now I'm gonna go in and do all my greens, keeping the color focused on the edges so that when I pull up the tape, the sticker paper, I'm gonna have a really nice line. And that means on my A as well, right? So we want this to be a nice solid line here too. Okay, thank you, Barbara. All right, so I'm gonna come up here. And you guys, these parts, this is like the therapy part. It's like, obviously the stamping is also very therapeutic, but the dabbing, like I love coming in here and just dabbing it and seeing it come to life and seeing the colors pop. And I feel so calm when I can go through and just go color by color systematically throughout the project and then go back and do the next color systematically through the project. It's just calming for me. Anybody else feel like that? I love this for so many reasons, but that's a big one. Okay, now I want to stick a little bit of this vine, and I want to make sure that this little sticker right here has some dark areas right next to it. So I'm actually going to just stamp in a little bit darker right next to that, so that when I pull it up, it's really bright white. Okay. And I think I'm gonna be able to get that. Okay. Janet, I'm driving and I can hear the brush dabbing. I think that's called ASMR, Janet. Okay. Mary, my sister tried an AI composition recently and said to me, I forgot how relaxing this is. Oh, that's true. It is calming. Deborah says the same. It's a really calming, you know, this world is so hustle and bustle, and sometimes it's like, just take a little time and enjoy something that you love to do. Take your time, go through color by color intentionally, and just relax. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here, and then we'll take this paper off, okay? And we're just going to, and if you want to reuse this, just be gentle when you take it off, because the sticker paper does have a tendency to rip if you're not gentle with it. So like this F, we want to make sure that we kind of help it along, and see, there's our first letter. Okay. Hi, Michael. Oh, good. First time watching. This is relaxing. Oh, welcome. Everyone say hi to Michael. Michael, we are a very, very loving, encouraging group, and I'm so, so happy to see you here. You are welcome anytime. Okay, so I am just going to continue to pull this off, and we are seeing our reveal here, okay? And I'm just going to take off that little A piece as well. Oh, there it is. Oh, I love it. I love it. It looks so cool, you guys. What do you think? This is just, it's so fun to see the reveal and then see what you've made. Isn't that neat? Okay, so I want to show you too. So we've made this really beautiful fall, and then we can take it and you know, run it through our die cut machine and put it on a really beautiful card back. And then, you know, send this to somebody that we love. You could even put a shadow in here if you wanted to, whatever you want to do, okay? And really quickly, before I show you the other two cards that you can make with this, I want to show you an example of another idea that you can do. So I went ahead and did this one earlier. It's a different style. So I've done, I did wild, and then I put a little tree and the mountains in the background. So it's just a different idea, but you could do so many different things with these. Imagine like one of the little deer in here. And actually I'm noticing that I didn't put little lines into the W, so you can see how to do that. Okay. So you can totally do different things with these. It doesn't have to be a holiday. It can be, you know, something that is totally different. If you need, you know, like my dad would like this card. He loves to be out in nature, and he would love a card like this. So, you know, you can just kind of play with these and do something you know, that you like. And if you want the wild card, leave in the comments that you would like the wild card. I'm happy to give this away. Okay, so now I am going to take my little fall paper that I showed you, okay? And I'm going to take this. So this is the cutouts of from the fall that I had here, right? So all this in between, the negative space, that's these letters, okay? So I'm going to take my same foliage and flowers, and I'm going to show you how to make this look really cool. So you're going to get three different types of cards out of this. All right, so this will be really quick. I know I've kept you guys for quite a while as I normally do. Okay, but I'm going to take the 993. It's going to be the same colors that I used on the previous one. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp all around this. So I'm going to take the 993 and I'm just going to go wild. Okay, just like my little card, I'm going to go wild. And I'm just going to stamp all around and get tons of stamps in here. All right. So I'm going to get these in here. And I'm going to add the flowers. Notice I'm stamping several times at once in a cluster. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. All right. Okay, so a lot of you want the wild card. If you want fall, say fall card. If you want wild, say wild card. And then if you want the sample, you can say and sample and basic samples. And Leah will pick some winners, okay? All right. So I'm going to come in here and just keep going around. So lots of yellows in here. Wild card, fall card, and then you can also add and basics sample card or basics card, whatever you want to do, where I showed you all the basics. Okay. And then I'm just moving around here, okay? So notice I'm kind of coming out of the edges and I'm coming all over the place. Deanna, all the samples, or all of them. You can say any. Okay, so I'm gonna take that one. All right, so now I'm gonna take the orange. I'll take the orange. And this orange is 933. And you can see how different that is. I'm hoping you can see how different that is from the yellow. And feel free to put some red in here too if you want some red. I just really wanted to keep it with the oranges, the blue, the green, but red would have been really cute in here too. So just because I didn't add it in doesn't mean you shouldn't. It would be really, really cute to add. You guys, you're so funny. I would just like any of them. Oh, that's funny. You guys are so sweet. But it wouldn't hurt my feelings if you were like, I only want the wild card. That would not hurt my feelings in the slightest. We all have our preferences, and that is absolutely okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take my... Okay, let's see. I'm going to take my little blue now, and that's going to be the 526. Okay, the 526. And I'm going to ink this one up, and I'm just going to begin stamping this all around again. And there was no reason I started on this L. That was kind of a random place to start, but that's okay. It doesn't matter where you start. Kind of like life. Doesn't matter where you start as long as you start, right? Okay, so I'm just going to get these little guys in. And maybe I'll put a couple out here. Put a couple here. Maybe I'll put one out here. So this one, you don't have to fill in the letters entirely if you don't want to. What you want to do is kind of think about the outside, filling the outside pretty tightly so that when we take the letters off, we're going to have a negative space. Okay, so I'm really just kind of focusing on the edges of all the letters. So remember, I'm stamping in sequence. I'm stamping at least 5 times. Okay. And maybe a couple down in there. Whoa, I'm getting full here, you guys. So you can put in maybe just a little bit of green. I'm not gonna put that much, okay? Oh, thank you, Janet. You queen. She said, how about the middle of the A? Yeah, you need the middle of the A done too. Absolutely. I'll make sure to get that with my vine. Thank you. Bless you. I would have been like, what's wrong with this picture? Yeah, you got to get them all. You got to get the center of that A for sure. See, I need you guys in my life. I need you guys in my life. Okay. Now, it does not have to be this busy. You can keep it really simple if you want, okay? This is like super, super busy, but I mean, that's kind of like me. I like it really, really full. And that's just kind of how I roll. Okay. So I'm going to just move along here. Maybe put some on this side. You can see this is like getting super full now. Okay, we'll put a little bit in here. Okay, and I think we're probably at max capacity now. What do you guys think? We are like maxed out with space. Okay, so maybe I'll put just like one more down in here because I want that A to be nice and hugged in, and the same thing with this L. Okay, so, wow. Now we have, let's see. All right, I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna go all along the orange and the yellow to begin with, right? Same sequence. I like to do the light areas first because it just saves that space for them. And I'm going around and just kind of adding my water. Thank you, Janet, in the middle of the A. Okay. Tina, we need to have a retreat to Oregon to visit the Krebs family. Keep your eyes peeled. There might be some, can't say when, maybe there might be something as possibly, maybe, in the future. Just keep your eyes peeled. Okay, so I'm going to continue on. I can't, confirm or deny anything at this point. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. And I'm moving around. Sherry, this one yearns for Kendra dots. Yes, it does, girl. Yes, it does. I filled this baby up so much, I don't even know where I would put them. You know what? We could probably find a spot, though. Okay, now I'm going to take the blue pieces and I'm going to dab and just kind of move around all the blue areas. And if I get some green, that's fine. Just being really just color by color here. And if I miss one, it's fine. I can go back and retouch it at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to put my greens in. You want to leave that highlight, right? Like we talked about, dab, dab, dab. And you know what? Those of you with newer brushes, what you were saying about the point, it may just take a bit to break them in. Get your water out and kind of get a piece of watercolor paper and just kind of work it in. Just kind of start playing with the brush, open up those bristles, and just kind of get some of the waxiness off of your brush and really open up the brush. That will definitely help you when you go to kind of loosen it up, okay? But new brushes, they do kind of have that waxy sort of sealant over them, and so you do kind of have to work that out. So I wonder if that was the problem. Are they new brushes? Okay, so now I am going to do the reveal, okay? So we have one card here. We have another card when we pull these off. Okay, so I can pretend that the sticker paper is some cardstock. Okay. And I can start building. That's kind of crooked, but you get the concept. Okay, I should have had a little cardstock out ready, but I actually kind of decided to do this part last minute. But you can get the idea here. Okay, so let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. Okay, so I'm going to just pull this off. And then there's my next L. And that's crooked too, but you know what? We're just gonna roll with it, you guys. Okay. Oh, yay. Okay, I was just given a piece of white cardstock. Thank you. Thank you for bailing me out. Okay, so I have a piece of white cardstock. And man, I'm gonna get this crooked. Normally, if I were doing this, I would have like a little, like, ruler line. Okay. But we'll go with it here. It's okay. Okay. And then the next one. So you can see what we're doing here, right? Okay. Yep, the queen bee, Janet. The queen bee herself bailed me out, as usual. Okay, I can always count on her to bail me out. Okay, and then the F is gonna come off. Okay. There we go. See how cute that is? And then we can take our brush and on our palette, let me just grab like any palette here. I can take something like the 933 or even the blue, if I want the blue. That 526. If I can take this blue, then I can just kind of give it a little bit of structure here. Okay, and actually you don't need to do much, just a little bit. All right, mostly on the left. Okay. Just outlining a tiny bit goes a long way. And I'm going on to my last letter. Okay, isn't that cute? So there's your second card. Okay, so you have the first one we made, then the second one we made, and then, yes, Jerry, nothing is completely white. Yes, everything that's white has to have a shadow on it. And then our last card that we can use. So isn't that cool? I love these block letters, you guys. These block letters are so versatile. They are just super, super cool. They have so many different uses, and you know, these are just 3 of them. And okay, so let me turn the camera back around and I will say my goodbyes. Okay. All right, let me see if I can get this to turn around. Hello. Hello. Okay. Oh, my hair is just, wow, just kind of crazy today. That's okay. So just as a recap, I used the Bible journaling. This is the block letter. I'm seeing the replay and I'm seeing how crazy my hair was. Sorry, you guys. Wow. Okay, it was like just all over. Okay. So these are the Art Impressions Bible Journaling Block Letters die set. You don't have to use this in your Bible. Obviously, I showed you 3 ways to not have to. If you're not into Bible journaling, totally fine. You can still use them. And that's these. Okay, so you get the whole alphabet. And then look at, you get a little question mark. And there's also an exclamation point. And then the other sets I used were the flower set 1. Okay, so this was 4052, and that was the daisy bunch. And then also foliage set 4, the teeny tiny little vines here. Okay, and then what I didn't show you was the flower set, or the foliage set 2, that I had that little teeny tiny blue leaf that I used for the blue parts in here. So there's those, and then let me just show you on this angle the 3 different cards that we made from the 1 block letters. Okay, so all these we made just by cutting out 1 time. Okay, so these are really, really fun. Okay, you guys, here's the wild again. Oh, and then I had one more fun idea. There's the wild again. So if you wanted any of these, please leave them in the comments. I'm also going to give away the little basics sample card that I did to show you. And then last week I meant to show you this really fun Halloween inspired little project or composition that I used with the stamp letters last week, and I just forgot to show you. So this is a really fun project that you can do. Boo, and remember the Queen showed us how to do the bats. So definitely there's still time for Halloween. There's time, I know that's backwards, but you get the idea. There's still time for all of that fun stuff. And yeah, I think I have probably chatted all of your ears off tonight. So I am going to say my goodbyes, and make sure to check the Queen out tomorrow. She has got the cutest, and I say this every week, you guys, but literally every week. I'm so excited about what she makes. I just love it. I saw it and I was like, okay, like it is so stinking cute. And she, just like she does, she's got a 2 different versions that she's going to show you of this project. So make sure to tune in tomorrow morning for Watercolor Wednesday with the Queen herself, 10 a.m. PST, right here on Facebook. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Those videos, once again, they're much better quality than the ones here on Facebook. So it does take us about a week to get them up there, but then they're up there for your use, okay? And then Instagram, of course, Pinterest, you can check us out. But yeah, if you can't get enough AI, definitely check out next week. Back to Basics, I'll be here at 5 p.m. again, PST, and I'll be bringing you another project. I'm not sure what yet. So leave in the comments actually what you want to do. I want to do something holiday. So if you're thinking Christmas, harvest, Halloween, you know, just kind of a fall theme or a winter theme. Leave in the comments what you want me to do, and I will consider those when I plan for next week, okay? And I will see you guys next Tuesday at 5 p.m. I love you all, and take care of each other. Enjoy, and I hope you got a lot out of tonight. And mwah, love you. Bye-bye.